Well, I wasn't expecting this. Actually, I don't think anyone was. If you didn't already know, Samurai Warriors 4 recently just shadow dropped on Steam, basically without any prior announcement. Koei just released the game for the first time on PC, with all of the DLC included, calling the whole thing Samurai Warriors 4 DX. Now, Samurai Warriors 4 2, or E, depending on how you want to pronounce this name given the introduction of E Naomasa, and Spirit of Sanada were already available on Steam, so I guess it makes sense that we finally got regular 4 as well. Although we still have yet to see 4 Empires get a Steam release to really complete the generation. Samurai Warriors 4 is now over 10 years old, which is crazy to think. While the Samurai Warriors 2 generation is probably the most beloved by fans, I think the 4 generation has become kind of the most iconic. It is undeniable that 4, 4-2, 4 Empires, and Spirit of Sanada are all fantastic games and solid entries into this great series. But it all started here with Samurai Warriors 4, which laid that foundation. The reason I'm making this video is sort of just to talk about the game a bit and really what my current thoughts are on the series and hopes are for the future. On top of that though, there is a lot of Samurai game news and current headlines. From the recent Assassin's Creed Shadows trailer, which is stirring up all sorts of controversy, and of course the release of Ghost of Tsushima on PC, there is just samurai news everywhere you look. Samurai Warriors 4 goes back to a simpler time in the gaming landscape, one where samurai games were not as often part of the massive AAA game conversation. It was a niche yet beloved game that was part of a niche yet beloved series, and it's fun to revisit this nostalgic time in the midst of all the samurai game commotion today. This is not a review of Samurai Warriors 4, as I've already talked about it enough in prior videos, but also I think you already know what my opinion is. On top of that though, I want to thank Koei for providing me with a copy of the game for Steam. I originally was on the fence about picking it up, being that I already have my old copy of it for PS4, but it was being able to play it again, from the start, with nothing unlocked or completed that makes this experience of revisiting it actually more enjoyable than I was initially expecting. Now, for those of you who have never played a Samurai Warriors game or were unaware, how each game does its story mode is a bit different. While games like Samurai Warriors 2 and 3 were focused on what character you chose at the start, following their specific story, 4 changes that up by giving you wider campaigns across the different regions of Japan. Some are available at the start, while others need to be unlocked by playing through them. Want to play the Uesugi campaign? Well, first you need to complete the Hojo campaign. Want to play the Sanada campaign? Well, first you need to play through the Takeda campaign, and so on. This altogether then leads to the eventual unlocking of the major campaign, which details the full unification of Japan and the end of the Sengoku period. I love this approach. You get to meet all the characters and experience all of these stories before then bringing it all together for one final massive campaign with all of the characters you've just built up that investment with. This is why it is so awesome to experience it again from the start, with nothing completed. No other Samurai Warriors game has done this. In fact, I'm struggling to even think of another game that even compares to how this game did its story. It was just carried out so well. 4-2 then changed things up right away and instead focused more on the relationships between characters and less of the overarching narrative of uniting Japan. And then there is Samurai Warriors 5, which moved on to solely tell the stories of Oda Nobunaga and Akechi Mitsuhide, ending the game with the Battle of Yamazaki, well before the true conclusion of the period. I still have very mixed feelings on 5. If you want to watch my review for that, or the review I did for the series as a whole, I will leave links down below. But anyways, getting back to Samurai Warriors 4, as I've been alluding to, playing it again really has illustrated to me how this game got things correct from the start. Yes, these games can be a bit silly, and no, they are absolutely not historically accurate, despite the fact that they do follow the main battles and events of the period. Regardless, they are a blast, and really just fun highlights of the period, turning historical figures into caricatures of what we are often told about their characteristics. The game drops you in expecting you to already know who each character is and what they are after, with really the only introductions going to new characters like Matsunaga Hisahide and so forth. And because of this, the game gets into the midst of things fairly quickly, but doesn't fail to still set you up like you've never missed a beat. I love the pre-battle intros with the map that help to show the wider political situation that is going on. This feels like the natural evolution of the way they did it in prior entries, and I think probably the best it has ever been, with a great art style and music. But obviously what is really important here are the battles, the real meat of the game. Of course, the style of the Samurai Warriors games is one which is derived from its sister series, Dynasty Warriors, with your characters taking on hundreds of enemy soldiers led by formidable commanders. And this is where, once again, Samurai Warriors 4 feels like a proper evolution to what came before. The combat is fluid and fresh in all the right ways. From the new item system, to the hyper attacks, to each character feeling completely unique on top of meaningful progression. As usual, battles at the beginning of the campaigns start out pretty easy, but the further you go, things get more challenging. This perfectly portrays things becoming climactic in the overarching story of the period, with the Battle of Sekigahara and the Siege of Osaka being the clear pinnacle. This game just feels completely well-rounded and the perfect setup for the Empire's release that came later, a game that I have put hundreds of hours into over the years. Now, this re-release of the game also comes with all of the DLC included, which is quite the value, adding all sorts of new missions, mounts, and customizations. However, there are some other things I do have to say about the PC release. The first of which is the graphics look a bit off. This is a 10-year-old game, but for some reason the textures and shading don't always look as good as I remembered it being on PS4, even with the graphics settings set to max. Yet this might just be a difference in resolution and screen size, going from a TV down to a computer monitor. Either way, it just looked a bit odd to me until I got used to it. But personally, it does feel weird playing this game on PC. I'm someone who has always played Samurai Warriors games on a console. In fact, the whole reason I went out and bought a PS4 was so that I could play this exact game years ago. It was exciting as someone who had never owned a PlayStation console, as I had played Samurai Warriors 2 on Xbox 360 and Samurai Warriors 3 on the Nintendo Wii. At least for me, there is something that just feels so nostalgic and cozy about sitting on the couch and booting up a console to play some Samurai Warriors. In fact, it's something I have come to do yearly, as I've sort of fallen into this routine of doing annual campaigns on Samurai Warriors 2 Empires, usually in the fall. I know it's just a personal thing, but it does make me think about the future of the series, and how I will continue to enjoy it and whether it will continue to be on console, or if sooner or later I will be completely playing these games on PC. Now, the game costs $50, which might seem like a lot for a decade-old game. I completely get it. Game prices are becoming more and more of an issue these days, and this game is no exception. Personally, I think $30 or $40 would have been a bit more of a fair price point. Yet at least the game does of course come with all of the DLC already included, so there is obviously value there that I do think justifies at least a little bit of it, besides the fact that it is a really good game by itself. And it is for all of these reasons that I have stated so far that I do believe this re-release is one I think fans of the series should be enthusiastic about. I know a lot of us are still feeling a bit confused or frustrated with how they did Samurai Warriors 5 and now the sort of uncertain future of the series. I think looking back, Samurai Warriors 5 felt like an experiment that they ultimately didn't capitalize on. Sure, they added some new cool characters and features, but overall it never felt like a complete package by itself. I know that a lot of us wanted a continuation of its story, and in particular I really wanted an Empire's release as I usually do. So the fact that we didn't get any of that made Samurai Warriors 5 feel quite stunted. And playing Samurai Warriors 4 again just really helps to illustrate that, because here with 4 we do have a complete experience, with all sorts of additional modes and bonus content for you to complete. It's a foundation that Koei did capitalize on because it was done right, leading to more great games within 4's generation. And this is what I think we all want for the series moving forward, the same level of attention that 4 received. So if we want Koei to know that this series is truly beloved and worth continuing to update through remasters and new games, we need to be vocal about our enthusiasm. Koei has shown in the past that they do listen to feedback from fans, so your words do matter. And I'm happy to see that this re-release is of course getting a lot of praise already. People seem fairly ecstatic about it, even given its somewhat high price point. So I'm very hopeful for the future. My absolute dream, besides getting Samurai Warriors 6 with another Empires title, would be if we could get a remaster of Samurai Warriors 2 and of course Samurai Warriors 2 Empires, which is easily one of my favorite games of all time if you didn't already get that. Anyways, I feel like I've rambled on enough. Samurai Warriors 4 on PC is as great a game as it has always been, and I hope people who have not yet had a chance to play it get to experience it now for the first time. Now, a bit off topic, but if you are looking to hear me talk about the recent Assassin's Creed Shadows trailer or Ghost of Tsushima on PC, sadly as of right now I don't think I'll be doing either. I'm not really sure what else I want to say about Ghost of Tsushima at this point. And in terms of Assassin's Creed, I think I've made it clear in the past that I'm really just not interested in the series, in addition to the fact that what I saw in the trailer really did not intrigue me at all either. I will be keeping an eye on it though. But this video is of course about Samurai Warriors 4, so I will leave you with these questions. If you have played Samurai Warriors 4, what do you think about it? What are some of your best memories of it? Do you plan to pick it up for PC, and what do you want to see for the future of the series? Let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, subscribe, and ring that notification bell if you enjoyed this video and found it to be most interesting.